Alright, so today we're looking at top products to sell using print on demand. This will be a part 2 of a video I just made recently. So if you haven't watched the first one, I'd recommend watching that one first and then this one. Now, a quick recap. So in the previous video, we learned that shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, kids clothing and scented candles were some top sellers on Printify overall. We learned this through the recently made feature called Printify Insights, and today we're looking at the rest of the top 10 products that are currently selling on Printify overall. So let's head back to the spreadsheet that we got from Printify. Alright, so the 6th best-selling product category on Printify is actually blankets. The blanket we're talking about is this one, the velveteen plush blanket. Let's gauge the demand on Etsy here. Let's just search for blanket. Now we gotta apply some filters so we only see the best sellers. So first physical items and then star seller. I call this the Cassie Johnson hack because I learned this from her. So we put a star seller filter and then we swap out star for best in the search bar here. And now we have all the best sellers for this given keyword. Okay, so we just take a look here. We use our trusty Everbee and then we sort this by monthly sales. Given that it's Mother's Day in full swing, so these will be probably a bit skewed, but overall we can definitely see here that there's a lot of demand for blankets. Now, the second thing that we also do have to know is if there's any margins to be had with this product category. One of the most important things in my opinion with business is making it profitable. So the second thing we gotta do is head into a listing here that we can make and see if we can make it profitable. Let's take this one. Instead of using Vela or Etsy calculator that I've used a lot in my videos, we're actually gonna use Everbee's calculator that I've totally forgotten about previously. So let's use their calculator here and check. First, we're gonna see what it costs. Let's take the baby blanket, for instance, 51. This is in Swedish kronor, so I gotta convert this to USD. Okay, so first, I gotta take off VAT. This looks kind of like a loss lead. Let's see here if we can make something out of this. And then we go to convert this to, this is $18. This won't be profitable, I think. This looks a bit, okay, so this one costs, I always count on the Printify Premium. It's a no-brainer for me if we're gonna take this seriously, as the difference is huge and makes margins a lot different. And count this on, okay, so this one is definitely not profitable. A loss leader is something where you have your cheapest variation set to a break-even price so that you can get people to click the listing in search. Then when they're in search, if you have a really good listing, that usually means that they will be easier to convert. That's usually why we would use the loss leader. Instead of using this one, let's take the 50 times 60 inch. So let's take this one. Gotta remove the VAT since I live in Sweden. Let's see if this one is profitable. 32.87. Okay, let's head back to the calculator here. Let's move this. So 32.87. And now the 50 times 60 inch is $9.99 plus 18.39. This one is not profitable either. Let's see here. There's a good chance they are actually making this in-house, which makes their margins probably be able to afford this. So let's look at another listing instead to check if it's profitable. Let's take one that seems to be using print on demand instead of in-house stuff. Let's look at this one. So let's take the baby blanket. Yeah, let's take this one. 26. This looks much more promising. So $26.99 as the sales price. And $26.99. Remove this stuff just to simplify it, so we can just have one bar for cost and one bar for price. This is the baby blanket I'm counting on. So 30-40 inch, 10.34 plus 5.69, which is $16. This one looks much more promising. So this looks really good. This one has net profit margin, which would be $7. So this is almost 30%. I see this more as a gross margin before ads costs and mistakes that could have happened when you're doing Etsy. 30 to 40% is usually what I want to have. So this is almost that. So I definitely count this as a profitable product to go for. So blanket is definitely one to look out for and go for sure, especially given the data that we have that is currently selling so well. Okay, So now it's time to head to the top 7th product category that sells the best on Printify, and that will actually be phone cases. And it's actually these ones, the tough cases, that Printify calls them. We do the same thing. We head to Etsy to gauge the demand. Let's just search for phone case. Do the same thing. Physical items, the Cassie Johnson hack. Let's gauge the demand. Yeah, this looks really promising. Several pages with just bestsellers. Let's look at our trusty Everbee again. Please do note these are only estimates. These are not always accurate. But given this, we can definitely see that there's a lot of demand for phone cases for sure on Etsy. And let's go into one of these that looks like print on demand so that we know that we can actually sell, and to see if we're actually profitable with this. Let's take this one, for instance. This definitely looks like print on demand. Let's first count the price. So I live in Sweden, so as mentioned, this always includes VAT. If you don't live in Sweden, this might include sales tax, or if you live in another country, it might include another amount of VAT, but it applies 25% extra VAT on top of my sales price since I live in Sweden. So let's convert this to USD. This doesn't have free shipping. And then let's count this to this. So 18.78. And let's see what they cost here. So shipping is $5.49. I only target the US, so that's why I'm always counting on those prices. Plus 11.03. This guy might actually not be using print on demand because this will definitely not be a profitable product. Unless this too is their loss leader. Definitely this could be a loss leader. Let's see if we can find another one, or they might make this in-house, which skews these margins as they're not applicable to POD, which we are doing. Let's check these ones instead. These are tough cases, and this also includes free shipping. Let's see here. Are these guys using print on demand? Seems to be making it in-house too. Let's take this one instead. See if they use print on demand. Does not seem to be using print on demand. Let's check this one. This is search for tough phone case instead. Okay, so this could be a more accurate one as we are selling a tough case here. So let's look at this one and see here. Well, this one is also ships from Malaysia. So this one is also not POD. This could be POD, but be from another type of company than Printify. So hard to use the demand there. Let's see here. If they are using POD, ships from the UK. Let's just count on this one and see if it actually could be something to be used with POD. So first we'll take off the VAT. This is $20 plus 42.5, so $24.8 for this one to sell. And then again, it costs $5.49 plus 11.03. So this one has a profit margin of $5. So we could definitely work with this and see if it could be something. But in my opinion, I've found several different people that are selling this for a much lower ball price. And they probably are using either suppliers abroad or making stuff in-house, which makes it harder to compete with. How my thinking is that since it's still one of the most popular things selling on Printify, if we compete on other metrics and price itself, we could definitely compete with a 30% profit margin. So if we want a 30% profit margin, we could have $29.99 instead. That's a $5 extra markup. And this is definitely feasible, even though other competitors are selling for lower. But if we compete by using, for instance, a guarantee, if we have a super good store that has great reviews, that proves a really high perceived likelihood of achievement of the customer actually getting what they purchase, they can return the item, because a lot of people are using no returns and exchanges. If we allow returns and exchanges, for instance, within this store, then that will definitely be something that you can outcompete other people on Etsy with, instead of just the price. Because if someone can return it, and there's lots of great reviews, and the pictures looks super great, and there's even a guarantee within the listing that says that the customer can get a refund if something happens, then that's a great way to just compete on other metrics than just price. I'd say that phone cases is a product category that could be really well to get into for sure, since we can compete on other metrics than just price. All right, so the top 8th product category that sells well on Printify is mugs, and it's this specific mug, the ceramic 11 ounces and 15 ounces mug. So let's just gauge the demand on Etsy here. Let's apply the filters again. Swap out star for best. This definitely has a huge demand on Etsy here. Let's see here. Let's sort this by monthly sales. Yeah, lots of demand for mugs. And let's just look at, for instance, because as I mentioned, I love custom design listings. Oh, this has a huge markup on shipping. First, I gotta take off VAT plus that huge shipping cost. Swap this to US dollars. Let's use our trusty Everbee calculator this time instead of the Alora one that I've always used in my videos. This one sells for 25.69 and the cost of this mug is 25.69. It's only the 11-ounce mug. The white one costs the same. This is just a standard white mug, so the same. And 11 ounces. And let's check the cost. Shipping is 6.89 for the smaller one, which they are selling in their store, and $3.39, so $10.28 cost. Yeah, this one is without a doubt a super profitable product, as you're in almost a 50% margin area. So this one is definitely profitable, and we can definitely see lots of demand on Etsy for this product category. Mugs are without a doubt approved. The 9th product category to get into that are actually selling the best according to Printify Insights, that is actually some vertical posters. So do the same thing. Let's head into Etsy and gauge the demand. Just search for vertical. No, let's just search for posters, because that's what a customer would be searching for. And let's have only physical items. Let's see here for posters. So these are just straight up posters that they can put on a wall. Usually people use a frame. So if you're going to use a mockup, I highly recommend using a frame mockup for your design. So let's head into this one. The small one is this one. So let's just count this one. 3.59 plus shipping. Shipping is most likely going to be the most expensive part here. So 10.8. That's the cost. First we have to use this. Really high shipping costs on these for sure. This has a huge markup, $32.99 and 10. Oh wait, huge markup on this, almost $20 margins on this one. So this one looks super promising to sell. This is just one outtake from all the posters that are on Etsy, but this one definitely looks great to be able to sell. Do remember that all these metrics are based on current data from the past 90 days. So posters are selling super good right now. That's definitely a profitable market to get into. And the last one that are selling super well on Etsy is actually indoor wall tapestries. So this one is similar to the previous one, just a different type of product, but let's gauge the demand and just search for indoor wall tapestries. Same thing, let's look for bestsellers. So physical items, star seller, swap out star for best. Let's gauge the demand using trusty Everbee. Looks really promising. Only 2 pages, so not as many, for instance, as the posters, but since there are only 76 results here, this means that this niche in and of itself is not fully explored, which gives a great opportunity to just get into this right now, especially if you do custom design. So let's just look at this one. This one has custom photos, but let's just gauge if this is a profitable product. So take off the VAT, they have free shipping. Let's take this 60 by 50 inch. So this one is 283.28, 20.84. Now this sales price will be 20.84. They might actually be making this in-house. I can, just from the look of it, I can just see that wouldn't be profitable. Let's look at another one just to check. This is in centimeters. Let's see how much this is in inches. I don't think that doesn't look that profitable because they have free shipping too. They could be doing this in-house. No production partners are listed. Let's look some more to see if this could be something to get into. Let's count the VAT and no shipping included there. So free shipping. Let's see if this could be profitable. So $28. This looks more promising for sure. And then the cost would be $16.47. This one does not look that good, honestly, in profit margins, at least not with using Printify. And the same thing with the other ones that I just looked at. This would not be a profitable product. So I would not get into this specific category. This one is not one that I would get into, mainly because of the profit margins, and mainly because there's not that much, in comparison to other niches, there's not that much bestsellers here Could be worth exploring for sure, since there's no demand on it already. And the research tells me that there's small profit margins with the current bestsellers. I'd hop into other niches instead, like the phone cases, for instance, or the posters would be a great one to get into too. All right, so we just touched on some top product categories to sell in using print on demand. This was all based on Printify Insights, which is a great feature that they recently released, where you can see real-time data on what currently sells best overall on the Printify platform, but what also sells really good in your own shop. If there's anything that you'd like me to cover next, just drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to help out. I'll see you in the next one.